Hey guys, welcome back to the British Bodybuilding Podcast. We are your co-hosts, Big Cal and starting to get Big Tom, and of course our guest host today is ReeceFit, Reece Pearson, more commonly known as ReeceFit. I mean, eventually you will have to change your name legally to just.
I know, I'm an open bodybuilder pushing like 260, 270 on stage, calling themselves ReeceFit. Ah, cringy. Yeah, crazy.
When you turn pro, you're just going to be Reece_IF pro.
Ah, fuck that, nah. I think I'm gonna take ReeceFit to the grave with me at this point, which to be fair, probably isn't actually that far away. So we'll see.
Does that mean when you marry Sanaya, she's going to take, and you take ReeceFit to be your lawfully wedded husband?
Do you know the weirdest thing is? The weirdest thing is when people say like Pearson. When you said Reece Pearson, it like goes through me. I'm like, whoa, who the fuck's that guy? You know, like I'm just not.
But I call you that to people when someone asks, like, I said, oh, who's like, I said, oh, Reece Pearson set up my trainer, and they're like, huh? I'm like, ReeceFit on Instagram, and they're like, oh,
Like,
yeah. I'm like, no, I know you by your name because I'm 32. I'm not a fucking 20-year-old calling people by their Instagram handle as an actual name.
No, it's legit like the guy who just never changed his like Xbox gamer tag and just kept the same name, and then like but like I just did it from like because I've had an Instagram from like when I was like 14, so I was just posting my training, and then it was just like, oh yeah, ReeceFit, ReeceFit. I was like, yeah, sound, that's me, I guess.
Are you feeling about the weekend, bud?
Yeah, man, feel good. Honestly, like I haven't I haven't really thought about it too much. Like I think it's because obviously it's a regional, and let's be honest, like Two Bros regionals, they're not the pinnacle of bodybuilding, especially within the UK. And I also like I've been super fucking busy these last like 2 weeks. I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm busy," but like, I genuinely haven't even had time to really think. Like I've not practiced my routine. I've still obviously practiced my posing, but like I usually just do that the day or two before. And like I've just like today's the first day that I've actually like slowed down and gone, oh shit, I'm actually 2 days out.
Nice.
Like I've had clients tell me like, I'm like, oh mate, you're on stage this weekend, and I'll like go, oh shit, yeah, I guess I am. Like I haven't really thought about it, but that's also probably when it's like, you know, when you've got your pro quals like 3-4 weeks after. So in my head, I don't want to do the classic, it's just tick a box, and then you finish fourth and look like shit. But like in my head, I've not really thought too much of it. Like I genuinely like, if you said to me in 2 days I'm competing, I'm like, fuck, I guess I am. You know, I haven't really thought about it.
That was my first one. Was like that one where you came the thing because I decided to do it on a fucking Wednesday or Thursday. I was like, I might do the show this Sunday, and I told Cal, I'm like, mate, can I do this? Like, do you think I'm good enough? And it was like, yeah, go for it. Like,
Yeah.
You know, so I think when you kind of not that you've decided like late, but like you were and an in between this and then the later October August.
Yeah. Yeah, so the original plan was going to be, because I started this prep like a fair bit heavier. Like I was like close to, I think I was 18 kilos heavier than last year.
What did you start at?
310, I think I was, like 309.
You're in good nick at 310 though.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. That being said, when you're running 20 IUs of the finest GH from China and a load of insulin, like it's probably a little bit influenced by that, and Increlex as well, which definitely adds a bit of scale.
You're actually 280 and the rest.
Yeah, legit. I think I was down genuinely, like no word of a lie. I think I was down 17 pounds, and like I think I was averaging 3 pounds a day for the first like 7 days. So I think it was close to 20 pounds in like a week, which is quite funny. But yeah, like I started obviously a fair bit heavier, so I was like, last year's prep was 7 weeks. This year's probably like give myself 12 to 14, give myself plenty of time, and then things start churning for me pretty quick. And then like at the start of like this month, so like 3-4 weeks ago, I was looking at myself and I was like, yeah, rate of loss, I think I could be ready for that first, and then it gives me one extra pro qual attempt, so I can do the Austria one, which will be cool. I think is it the first year they're doing a pro qual there? I'm not too sure.
That's the first one you're doing, isn't it, Austria? And then what was the other one?
No. So if I did the regional on the 22nd, I wouldn't have been able to do that because obviously it's the same.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
They've got the pro show the day after for that one, right?
Yeah. I spoke to Cuba. He, apparently we're training legs the day after, and I said I was going to 1v1 him on most muscular on stage if I get my road card. He's probably the only person I'll ever do a forehead to forehead most muscular with, and I'm already regretting my decision. The leg session will be sound. I'll fuck him up, but fucking in a head to head most muscular, yeah, I don't know about that one. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, things start moving quick for me. So it was like, yep, cool, do the one on the first, get that out of the way, and yeah, man, I literally.
I think the thing as well is that like what's been cool because we spoke up quite a bit about what you've been doing with your prep and stuff and back and forth, but the way that you do it is obviously it's pretty similar to the way that I did mine, but so you dig for it until you find like a kind of like a new low and a flat look, and then you kind of like you back off on your expenditure, you load up for a couple of days. Every single time that you load up, on the way back in, you add something else, right? Like a little bit more growth, a little bit more anabolic, maybe a bit more expenditure, slightly lower food, and then you find a new low, like and a little bit further beyond, and then you kind of rinse and repeat, and it's just like that pattern, isn't it? That cycle that you've done the whole way through. Which I think has probably grown you into the show anyway. But
100%, 100%.
Pretty comfortably, I would say. And then, and also like the fact that the amount of food that you have to use to load up, because it does get pretty silly.
Yeah.
Like even junk on top of it as well. Like it's just very much like textbook. This is how super heavies have to do this shit, and pros like you have to do it in this sort of fashion. It's not just start at 20 weeks out, finish on show day, maybe a couple of refeeds here and there. Like no, it's not how it works. You do that, you'll be a string bean by the time you get there, and then you won't fill out properly when you get to it. It is a totally different type of bodybuilding when you get to that level of muscularity that you have got to now. Like, because the poundages that you have to lift to preserve that tissue are going to require days with very, very high food, so that then translates over to some form of energy to a degree, whether it be IMTs like from your fat intake, obviously from junk stuff or whatever you're adding in, or just generally fucking the 1,000+ grams of carbs you're having to do on a regular basis. When you do that, then at least you get 3 days training which are half decent, right? And then it kind of starts to dip off a little bit, whatever. But it's just interesting. It's really cool the way you've done it. It's been good fun to watch and chat with you about it.
It's a completely different ball game.
Well thought out.
Yeah, it's a different ball game because obviously I've come from like men's physique where my first prep was entirely what you said there. So it was 22 weeks, like fuck all
just get
refeed.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, all the thought process was just get lean. It wasn't preserve fullness. I didn't care about how training was. It was just get lean. You got a long time, slow and steady, a diet break here or there if need be, but it wasn't anything like high food or anything like that. And comparing it to this time where it's like, well, I learned last year, like, especially as like a super heavyweight bodybuilder, like I honestly think one of the biggest mistakes people do nowadays is the classic like low test, fucking high DHTs, and they just keep it going because you're just going to get flatter and flatter and flatter. And then being scared to increment growth hormone, to bump up, let's say, Superdrol in let's say a carb load to help nutrient uptake, like these things that you need to do.
Or even just slow increments of test dosage as well. Like people
that's what
worry, like, no, my test starts at 600, so it's staying at 600 the whole time.
Or it comes down, and I replace
it's like,
Astra,
like,
it's like,
you
what?
know you can go up. That is okay to do that. Like,
100%. And I think, like as you said, Tom, like, every time that like you make a change, especially the bigger you are, you need to look at stack design or like your overall kind of quality of right, this is what I'm doing. If I'm making a change to elicit greater fat loss, I need to then make a change to hold on to some tissue or to bump up fullness. So like last year, it was literally a case of like every time I made a food change, I just added 2 IUs of GH. This prep, I kept my GH the same, but I just bumped up test. And it was a case where like I just kept my mastron just a little bit lower, but had it working within the background. And then I just started kind of bring it up towards the end just to, again, achieve that sort of cosmetic look. And then obviously as well, when you have things like Increlex on the side as well, like that's ridiculous when it comes to that sort of like potential nutrient uptake and just general fullness benefit. So I think like, again, as an open bodybuilder, you've got access to all these tools. We shouldn't be fucking limiting ourselves to, as you said, like I've got 600 tests and it stays there and I pull it down because I don't want to look watery, or hey coach, I'm 2 weeks out, we're pulling out the GH, and it's like, what? Why? Like, depends on the look.
The water retention from that growth hormone can be manipulated off with a little bit of diuretic or fluid manipulation. Like it's just fluid at the end of the day. It can be shifted in other means. Granted, there are some physiques, right, that where that might actually be really beneficial.
Oh yeah,
like,
you're not going to get like Carlos Thomas Jr. and say, yeah man, cool, go and do 30 hours of GH.
No, because then it's fuckery, right? But,
exactly.
But that's a great example, right?
Yeah.
That's a great example.
Yeah, and I think
would you say you've become like less rigid in your approach to prepping over the years, Reece, like from men's physique days when it was like that 22-week prep to now?
I'm going to be honest. I don't want to say like I cracked the code because that sounds incredibly fucking gay. Sorry to any gays on that. But it sounds.
Sarah listening to this going, oh, all right.
Fuck you, Reece. No, to be fair, she can tell me to get.
No, she does it. She goes, oh, that's proper gay. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But like, I honestly think because last year I got injured, or 2 years ago I got injured. I had to like reset a lot of what I was doing, and I treated last year as a complete and utter. this is what I usually do, and this is what fucking ruins my look. And like, let's say, Tom, you know from back in the day, I looked great at like 6 to 8 weeks out, and then I just eroded. I did way too much, or I ended up not displaying a physique that I like thought I had as a junior. I was like 110, 115 kilos in men's physique, and I got on stage at 95. I was like, what's happening here? Like, this doesn't make sense. And last year, I kind of just like, in my head, thought, okay, I'm just going to do things that my physique, in my opinion, I feel like I'll benefit from, and let's just see where that let's see how that lands me, see kind of how that goes. And so it was definitely, as you said, like, it was so less structured in regards to like how things are now, and it's a lot more.
It was reactive, but you're I think that Reece, you're very level-headed with the way you go about things, and you're so relaxed about the way that if you do something and it genuinely didn't work, you know that with your physique, okay, let's say, right, you do a really big silly refeed way too early, and you just put on way too much, and you look pretty soft from it. Granted, that's not going to happen, but let's say it did. You know that if you're like, oh, I just guess I got to push for about 10 days, then pretty aggressively here and kind of get that crap off. It's not even going to hold you back, because you know that even if you do take the piddly piss, you can just come back and fix those sorts of issues that have kind of gone wrong there. Or if your fat's been a little bit too high for a few days and you've not really seen much of a shift, you go, actually, you know what, I could just probably pull these back a bit. And little things like that, it's like, it's very reactive, bodybuilding in general, so like, understand, but you're also very in tune with what you do. So,
yeah, I think that's obviously one of the biggest things. Like, I've had a few messages like recently, because I've been putting a bit more out there of like what I actually do, and like someone was like, it's the micromanagement on like the day to day. Like Monday, for example, I planned to do cardio, and I was like, okay, cool. I had a busy weekend, PCA Naturals. Then I had my client meetup. I had clients stay over. The clients that were competing were staying over. Woke up on Monday, and like it should have been my last Stairmaster session. And I was like, right, I'm gonna pose, see how I look. I had a big weight drop. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. Usually I do the Stairmaster straight away, but I was like, I'm gonna go upstairs, I'm gonna have a coffee, I'm gonna sit and chill, and then I'm gonna go for a walk and see how I feel. Went for a walk and was like, I feel like shit, because let's be honest, after you pose after a new low, usually you're like, fuck yeah, I can see some new lines, this looks good, and you could just ride off the high off that. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let things chill. And then I was like, I'm not gonna do cardio today. I don't need to. Like, I don't need to. It's not gonna benefit my look. And then Tuesday,
it's just gonna be a bad idea. Like,
Tuesday, I look my absolute best.
Hit a new low, feel absolutely exhausted. The look is probably sharper and better anyway. But you've got no boost out of it. It's the worst thing you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But like the temptation would have been, like I said, I wanted to get on that Stairmaster because in my head I was like, right, last rest day dig, let's just go for it, let's get to all-time condition. But then I knew that wouldn't have been contributing towards my look, so I was like, right, I'm not going to do cardio today, I'm not going to do stairs, I'm just doing my steps, keep my rest day food the same. Woke up the next day, a kilo lower, which I was like, oh shit, if I did cardio, it would have been a kilo and a half lower. So I was like 2 and a bit pounds down, and then I was like, right, cool, ready to load. So I've just started linear loading from that point. But I also was fresher as a result of not doing that cardio. Where, again, like if you, and this is, I think, the joys of self-coaching, but also having the experience. Because if you're self-coaching and you're a fucking idiot, you don't do that from 3 weeks out because you're tired and then you're fat on stage. You know? And then if you don't have a coach, or say you do have a coach, you'd be like, well, I don't want to let my coach down. I don't want to tell my coach for 5 days out and my cardio. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's when it's like being within your own body and going, okay, I actually know what I need to do. Like I said, I looked at my visuals Monday morning and I was buzzing, but I knew that that was giving me a temporary sort of hype. So if I went and did the Stairmaster, I would have been ruined afterwards, which ain't going to be good at 5 days out from the first show of the season.
And then you're trying to then linear load when you get round to it. The first day does nothing, the second day does barely anything, and you're like, right, so I've just lost 2 days of loading. Which is super heavy, means you're going to be flat because you haven't had enough time to get anything in. So those 2 big days that you do, the first one finally starts, the first big day of loadings finally starts to feel something. The second one does a bit more, but you still missed out on what you really could have been. It's good. It's very clever. It's clever, and I think what we've spoken about, like the way that you go about it, is very. I think it just makes sense, but it does only. I think it does only work for much bigger dudes because ultimately, like if you're trying to find a weight cap within classic, right, and trying to get under that number, one, you should be starting obviously with the intention of being at the absolute top end of it because that gives you the best possible opportunity. But you should be in condition, like proper condition, 3 to 4 pounds away from the cap, so that you can then obviously manipulate to get it. Now you are as big a human being as possible to obviously be at the top end of that cap. Then you've got space to load in whatever capacity you're able to do. So granted, with 2 bros weigh-ins, you're going to be weighing in at fucking 6 p.m. bullshit, which kind of fucks you anyway. But if you do pro quals, hopefully you can weigh in kind of like the day before at like 8 in the morning or some shit.
Yeah.
So there's scope to play with it more.
Tom, speaking of the two rows weigh-ins, I'm probably going to be doing a 5 guys like post like pump session tomorrow. So I'll be turning up at like 124 kilos, and I'll be like, yeah. So, I'll be like heavies, 22 kilos over the cap, bro. I'm like, shame, super heavies, I guess.
Guess it's supers.
Yeah, which is hilarious. But yeah, I think to be fair, and as well, like people will see like what I do and probably try and copy it. I had do you know Nat Asthma or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, great bodybuilder. He told me, he messaged me, and obviously his season, I don't think he still looked great, ridiculous improvement since he last competed. But he messaged me probably maybe a few weeks into, like when he was maybe a few weeks out from that PCA show, and he was like, I'm kind of copying your refeed approaches and what you were doing and stuff like that. And he goes, if it works, I'm just going to say it's my own approach, but I thought I'd just give you a heads up, like as a joke. And I think like for someone like that who maybe hasn't had that muscularity for that long, he's also, let's say, he's a different sort of physique to me. It could easily be a case where you get watery, you get in your own head, you do too much, you go up, like, let's say, for example, the last week, I ran on Monday, I did, not the Monday just gone, like 10 days ago, basically, I did 1250 carb, plus a 5 guys, plus cookies. It worked out like 9,500 calories. So it was like, it was stupid. And I think I was up 9.5 pounds. And I was a little bit watery, and I was like, oh, okay. But within 3 days, I was fine. But like some people would take that and go, fucking, I'm on stage next weekend, and I'm not in yet. I need to go and do loads more. And then they end up ruining the look. And I'm not saying Nat did that, because, again, like, he still looked great, but I think Nat could have looked better this year. And I'm not saying that's solely down to what he did for copying me, but there could be things there. Likewise, let's be honest, everyone knows guys. Tom, you probably know guys. Same with you, Carl. Like they've undershot massively on carbs because they're scared to spill. And it's like, yeah, man, cool. You're 70% full, if that at best. I did that in my first. Like, that was me in my first season, in the whole thing.
Yeah. I think it just becomes a different ball game, and you know what? It does feel. It feels funny when you say that, right? And you say, okay, it's a different ball game. It's a super heavyweight. The bodybuilding stuff, the way that you have to approach things is different. There is a different. It's a different style. It's a different up level. It's a few peaks above, kind of like where you know it's kind of classic or sort of novice sort of level bodybuilding, whatever, right? But if you say that to some coaches who haven't quite worked with loads and loads of supers, they don't get it, and they go, it's just bodybuilding, bro, it's the same as everything else, you just have to scale things up a little bit. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's not, because it's a tall super heavy. Tall super heavy is a different animal compared to everything else bodybuilding wise, right? Because you're 260, 270, 280 guys on stage. Do you think Josh Law has to do the same sort of stuff that your classic guy does, but just scaled up slightly? No, it's a different load of shit, right?
Tom, question for you. I remember you. This was on a podcast years ago. This is how much I'm invested in the Tom Hames law. Okay. Do you know your client? Did you win him a pro card? I can't remember. You know Reece? Is it Reece McDonald? Is it Reece McDonald?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I remember you saying on a podcast years ago that before one of his shows, and I use this as an example for a few clients. He had like a burger and fries at like 7 p.m. Went to bed. And then woke up at 1 a.m. and did loads of like cinnamon rolls or something No,
it was a burger and fries. Then shortly afterwards, maybe like a couple of hours later, it was the 4-pack of Sainsbury's muffins or Tesco muffins, the chocolate muffins, all four of them. Which is I think it's 400 calories each. 1,600 calories worth of like fat and sugar, basically, carbs. Yeah. But diced up and chopped into pieces, like quarters, and then fried in coconut oil. And then peanut butter, a little bit of peanut butter drizzled on top. Then he'd eat that, look absolutely watery as fuck going to bed, not bursting. Then he would do a full modulatic tablet, and then wake up the next day inside out, turn pro.
Yeah. See, I've used that. I got it wrong clearly. I thought it was cinnamon rolls or something.
Muffins cooked in coconut oil.
Yeah, similar. I remember just hearing cooked in something. And I remember being like, God, that's crazy. Because what time's he doing the burger and fries? Like 7 p.m., 8 p.m?
About 7:30, 7:38.
Yeah, and then he'd do what? So he'd do the
about 9-ish, half 9, 10.
Yeah, so he'd do all that, and then he's on stage in a 2 Bros class at 10 a.m. the following day.
10 a.m. the next day.
So he has 12 hours, if that.
12 hours of just pissing all night.
Yeah, and by the time, and if you think about it as well, the hilarious thing is with that much fats, by the time that's actually digested, it's probably 6 a.m.
One meal when he got up, Not much, a little bit of cream of rice, something very, very small. Then he's on stage, that's it, no other food. Just go get a pump, mate. Go sip on some Lucozade Sport, get a pump. Okay.
Is that like probably one of the most like, not to say that's stupid because it clearly fucking works, but would you say like out of the time working with bigger dudes, like is there anything like that where you're like this?
Craig
let's say if you did that for someone who wasn't.
Remember Blake, Craig Madden, you know?
Yeah.
PCA Blake. So his one was I remember at one point we had done a show and we had like loaded into it, and it was obviously like 1,200, 1,400 gram of carb for like 2 days on the trot sort of thing, and then half a day of loading, then kind of drying off and whatever. We did that, and he did great, right? Craig doesn't benefit from trying to push the overcooking the fullness. Enough is good. Too far kind of fucks him. He's put on loads of muscle since, so it's probably gonna be a little bit different. But so it's probably like 3,000 gram of carb and some junk and stuff on top for the actual load for him. It may have been more. But one of his refeeds that we did, because he just kept fucking dropping every time, and I didn't want to come back and kind of tweak his baseline because his stomach was getting on with it. He was getting better every time that we did it. One of his refeed days was me saying, I said to him, just eat whatever you want all day long. Just go and just don't talk, don't worry, just don't blow your GI. Eat 5-6 meals. Eat whatever you want on top of like your normal meals, just extra shit like muffins, squares, bars, Pop-Tarts, like just shit on top. It's fine. And the last meal, do like a full fucking Domino's, cookies, like just eat as if you are just binging almost all day. But every time your stomach gets a little bit too far gone, go for a walk, go do something, keep your brain occupied so you're not worrying about food, and then come back and do it. We did that, and he gained like loads of it, and then just dropped it all. It was way tighter, way better by like the Wednesday. So,
yeah, but he's a tall motherfucker, and he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's like 6'4", like 6'4".
Yeah, because the thing is like people will hear this and they'll go, "I'm going to do that," and it's like that's where, as you said, like we're not the same when it comes to how things are. Like if you applied that to like let's say a bodybuilding medium, you know, let's say your dude Tom, who's peeled, the guy who won short, Dan, like look fucking great inside out. Like it would take him a lot to spill. He does something like that, fucking hell, he would look like he's not even dieted. You know, if he did that a day or two out. Like,
mashed potato. His load going in towards the ones that we did was, off the top of my head, 1,400 gram of carb one day, and then 1,200 the next day. That's off the top of my head. But there's no junk and shit chucked in with that really. It was just pretty standard, clean, quality, decent stuff. And then obviously we had kind of like, we have 2 meals in the evening where he just does like pro fat sort of thing, and to kind of just pushes diuresis pretty heavily towards that short stint. If you do it for too long with it, he kind of pisses away. But again, like him being a little bit flat, you can't really tell the difference between, because it's obviously he's just a thick, dense kind of dude. So
yeah,
it's a bit of a difference.
I think the one thing I would say though, like for people that are listening into this, the leaner you are, like the bigger wiggle room you've got. Like the margin of error is so different when you're like inside out shredded. Like if people do this and they're like questionable. Oh, I look good in the morning, but then I look shit after a few meals. You know, like when you are inside out dug out, you can get away with some fucking wacky shit if you are all the way there. But if you've not got all the way there, like that margin of error is so small that you eat a little bit more and it's like, yeah, cool, spilled over, like you shit. That's one thing I would definitely
You also find that when people are on the way down, right? Like, you know, when somebody's like, let's say 80 to 85%, they'll complain that they felt watery after having a refeed or a high day. It's like, because you're not all the way there yet. And I think that just literally what you said.
Yeah, 100%. But I think like a lot of it, especially within bodybuilding now, people will do their check-in photos in gym, post-workout, good lighting, they've sweat out a good amount of water, they've not got any stress, and then they'll think to themselves, oh fuck yeah, I look sick, I'm there. And it's like, you need to be assessing visuals when you actually look your worst, you know? Yeah. Like, that's just part of it. And I think like the conditioning aspect is like so important, because you really can't fuck it. Like, and also as well, the leaner you are, it's the reason why like I find it crazy when people fuck a look based off like, let's say how deep their prep is, because I'm like, surely you should, once you're there, it gets easier to maintain and just get fresher and almost in a sense improve the look, unless you've had to get there in shit ways. My last year, this was fucking stupid, but like when I did the PCA Italy show, I basically rebounded into that from PCA finals, and I look back at a log and it was like I had 12 days out of 14, and 4 of which I was out of the country. I was in Italy, not for the show, for another weekend. And I had out the 14 days from PCA finals to PCA Italy, I had 1,000 carb every day, and my steps only were over like my baseline on the days where I was in Rome, like for a fitness event, and I was just exploring and walking around. But every day that I was at home, I was a maximum 4K. So I did 4K steps, 1,000 carb for 12 out of the 14 days, and I remember flying to Italy, and I was like, okay, I'm a bit watery here, but if I dry off, I'll be fine. And it was my best luck, and I was 8 pounds up for that final show. But that was because I was all the way in, and had been for 4 weeks. So it gave me so much more wiggle room to be able to scale things up. Where, like, again, that's dependent. If I'd done that approach 2 weeks out from a regional, and I'm not 100%, yeah, man, cool. Enjoy looking like you've not dieted, you know?
The only question for you, researching, is you know when you came out, because your rebound out of you kind of obviously do what I do, and you kind of, especially with a lot of my guys, we have very much a similar thought pattern on this, I believe, that when you're done with the show, provided that you were all the way in, and provided that you want to capitalise on that time out, that rebound, like the insulin sensitivity, that window. When you did the PCO stuff and got the program, where did you push your food to straight away off the bat?
I just went straight to my high day diet, so I was running 1,000 carb. So
yeah, I did think this. Yeah, I did think this. I've weirdly right. So you know, you said this to me. You know, so Reece, for anyone who's listening, Reece helps me with my training at the moment. I still do my own like diet and drugs and all that shit, but like it's set me up a bit of a training program, which is really good actually.
Yeah, for now then, mate. For now, come on, let's talk about it.
Yeah, because if I have to keep messaging you, I'm like, bro, I might as well just pay you. Like, might as well fucking just send me because I have to keep asking you about this fucking training program. So. What I was going to say was, like, because you were like, oh yeah, on this day here, and it was really funny that you mentioned it. You're like, oh, on this day when you're doing like your fucking pull session and all this, you probably should do your off-plan meal on this day because it's quite a lot of volume in it. You know, whatever, it's quite a lot of work. Do your off-plan after that, otherwise you're probably going to drop weight. Or you said something along those lines. Yeah. I was like, huh. I'm alright, I don't think I'm going to do it. I fucking dropped like 4 pounds the next day. I was like, for fuck's sake, you're fucking right, prick.
Coach's not available, brother. But yeah, I
this is gonna happen, Tom. But yeah, that's on like 800 gram of carb. There's 750 gram of carb. But I think I might actually have to go a little bit more because I think I'm just changing those shit really quick.
What do you have your other macros at? Like what's your fat?
So protein's 325, fats are like 80, and carbs is 750.
Okay, I personally would pull that all the way down fats wise. Like, why do we need fats on a training day when you're so sensitive? Just shuttle them into carbs. Like, I would literally, like, I think in my post-show rebound, I legitimately was running, like, only fats in my final meal, so I didn't go hypo while I was sleeping. And then maybe a little bit of fats pre, but I was doing, like, loads around the workout window. So I was doing, like, 100 carb intra shake. I was doing, I think, 275 pre and 300 post. And then the remaining, whatever amount of carbs that is, what's that, like, remaining 400, 350, was split between just, like, 3 meals, 100, 100, 100. And it was like basically just like spam the workout, train on 1 meal. So then for the rest of the day, GLUT4 is elevated. I'm super sensitive. Do a good amount of insulin in the morning. Get that IGF, let's say, spike from pre-bed GH, and then obviously localize IGF within the workout window, and then go from there. And that set me up so well. And then my rest days, that's when I have my carbs.
Do you track your fats from only direct sources though? Or do you count?
Yeah, no, I don't eat any foods really with fats in to begin with. So like,
but that's me counting everything. So that's counting everything. I don't do like fats.
I do as well, but I don't think they went above 30. I think like if I was to do honestly complete fats, I think my only complete fats were my red meat in my final meal, which was 8 to 10 grams. Like I don't think I had.
Yeah, maybe that's something I do. Then maybe I just take my carbs up like past 1,000, but just fats like just fucking trace.
Yeah, you'll be churning through the food. You'll be super hungry. You could probably add another meal potentially, and it just means, in my opinion, you're going through things so quickly, and especially when you are utilizing obviously like localized IGF, let's say fast acting insulin. I think it just makes sense. Like, why would we want fats slowing things down when the goal right now isn't to slow things down? It's to ramp things up.
Don't listen to the
Here's one then, Reece. I've got a question for you in regards to that. Like, with how much you've grown in tissue you put on, and obviously utilising the GH, the insulin, how would you say you've kept your midsection very intact through that process? Because typically you see a lot of bigger guys will grow everywhere systemically as well as kind of like waist and midsection. Would you say there's anything you've put in place to either mitigate that or like work around?
Yeah, 100%. I think you get people like, let's say, Eagles that will just preach vacuums, vacuums, and it's like that kid could vacuum without even fucking trying. He could vacuum at 10. You know what I mean? Like I don't really. I vacuum more so based off just like when I'm sat here, I've got my stomach controlled, but I'm not like constantly pulling vacuums or anything like that. I do not binge. I've never binged in my entire life. I do not eat to ever the point where my stomach is ever extended. My post-show period, like let's say for example when I won my PCA Pro card, I had one off-plan meal for 3 weeks, and that was when I was in Italy, and that's because I hadn't ate all day. Like it was just straight back onto my diet. And because I have no issue at all eating like similar foods constantly, I don't eat anything that causes like digestive stress. So like I was doing so much honey. Like let's say for example today I've done 1150 carb at this point. I have to look at my log. I think I've done 80 grams of honey in 5 meals today. So it's like, you know, where you get someone that'll do a high day and they're like, cool, I'm gonna like. I remember Sanaya when she was coached by Tom. Tom would go, okay, cool, double up carbs in this meal, and she'd be like, cool, doubling up my oats, and that's double oats, more fats, loads of water. Like if I do any meals, it's super low volume. I keep steps up year round. Like I don't ever go below 10k steps. I'll do steps after every meal. I pose every single day, like in the morning and post workout. It's one good thing about owning my gym, because I can have the same routine of like I wake up, I open the gym, I pose, I do my steps, I make sure I do some ab work, and then otherwise I think obviously a bit of it is genetics, but I think like if I was to be around like the guys that, you know, we've all been there where it's like you go for food after a show and they're eating and they're like, they're not even hungry, and then they're like, oh, time for some cookies, time for some brownies. I think honestly that is one of the most like stupid things to do. And also when you are utilizing, let's say, GH, insulin, etc., if you're training on 3, 4, 5 meals and you've got, let's say, a spike of IGF through IGF-LR3 increments, etc., and you're maybe even splitting up GH dosage, which is going to be skewing blood glucose, training with a full stomach I also don't think is a good idea when it comes to just keeping things there and keeping things tight. So like I'd say my entire off season, like I've been very conscious. Like my food choices have not changed. Like my off plans were like, if I was in America, for example, I was like literally so thoughtful of like, okay, I need to make sure that everything is digesting to the best of my ability, which is incredibly fucking geeky because at the end of the day, you live once.
No, but it's something I started doing since prep. So like once I've eaten a meal, I'll go for a quick walk.
Yeah,
like I'll make sure that I'm moving around frequently as soon as I've eaten. Even if I don't have time to go for a walk because I've got Coden with me, I'll just go play in the garden with him, or I'll play with him. So I'm just doing some form of movement, so that it kind of like settles a little bit, just moves through a bit. Like
how easy is it in the off season? Like we've all been there, where you eat a meal at the laptop, you then literally just carry on working for 2.5 hours. You look at your time and you're like, oh shit, it's time for my pre-workout meal. You're not moved. You know, stuff like that. And I think like as well as bodybuilders, naturally we do just choose as we get deeper into off seasons worse quality foods, whether it's off plans or we combine meals, or we go, fuck it, you know, like I'll just have cream of rice even though it's not digesting that well, or something like that. Or like when you are doing a high day, like right now, like I said, I've ate 1150 carb. I'm starving still because my food volume today has been minimal, like absolutely minimal. Like I could pull a vacuum right now and feel like I've not even ate anything. You know, and I think a lot of people are thinking like volume, let me put in, let's say, veg, let me put in loads of fruit and stuff like that, and it's like, that's not going to be good when you're eating a lot of food.
You can easily do things, and I think people do shy away from this, like in terms of like food selections and stuff, when your food does get high, is that, oh, it all has to come from this like clean quality stuff. In reality, yes, okay, stuff that digests well is obviously very important. However, if you have a cream of rice meal, but you now go, right, well, I need another 50 grams of carbs with this meal and another cream of rice meal. Why do you not use some honey or some maple syrup or whatever, right? Put it in with it so it literally pushes the volume minimally, but the carbohydrate intake is now increased. Therefore, you're covered. Yes, you're eating some sugary stuff, but that's perfectly fine because fucking breaks down to glucose anyway. As long as it's just not the only thing you eat, you're going to be all right. Like,
I agree.
I think the biggest thing that stands out. Sorry, go on, mate.
No. I was
going to say the biggest thing I noticed from yourself, Reece, is like you're so intuitive with how everything is, and I think that's something that a lot of younger guys maybe miss out on, especially if they're like robotic in their approach to listen to the coach. It's like eat a meal at this time, then that time, rather than actually sitting back and saying, has that meal digested? Do I feel ready for that next meal? It's kind of like just following the plan without actually taking into account how you feel through the process of that as well.
Yeah, which is hilarious because one thing that Tom said to me years ago that's actually, I remember it so well, was like, you need to be a bit more relaxed. You'll burn out if you keep doing this. Do you remember when we were in Domino's?
Yes, exactly. When we all sat down and we were having some fucking food or something. Yeah. And Jace came over, didn't he, in the evening as well. And we were all chilling there before PCO Uni, before me and Sanaya had the joint sort of the thing there. course, I remember. Dude, I remember that very clearly.
Yeah. I remember
don't-
exactly where we stood because like
don't overthink it. Like, or you will burn out. Like, you will mentally hate this shit. Like,
yeah, I remember we was just speaking about just random shit, and then like I think the whole day I'd been a bit like stressed because I was like, fuck Domino's. I got all my meals, I got everything prepped, I came with everything, and you were like, bro, you're not even competing, you're not prepping, just chill. And I was like, nah, man, no, genuinely, like, you'll fucking hate this shit if you don't just relax. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, you're probably right there, because, like, if I had done shit like that, like, as you said, like, oh my, guys, it's 3:30, I got to get a meal. It's like, fucking hell, does it really have to be 3:30 or could it be 3:40? It's not going to make a huge difference, you know? But I think, again, you have to earn the right to get to those standards. Most people say that, and they're behind massively, or they've gone into the gym and they're like, oh, I've got a fucking banging headache and I've got no pump, and they're like, oh, I've only drank a litre of water. Usually I drink 3. And it's like, and it's 35 degrees outside, you know?
Yeah.
Just scaling back, because I was interested with you boys. When have you noticed, like, midsection growth the worst, whether it's yourself or clients? Like, because I think people speak about it as GH and insulin, and I think 100% they are contributing factors, but I believe it's completely, it's not a myth, but it's a lot of the external variables where they are just slamming in shit quality food over time with minimal thought process. Like, where would you say you've noticed it, where you're like, you're seeing a client grow and you're like, yeah, bro, your midsection's also pretty naff?
Only when the growth hormone, insulin and things like that are kind of pushed, IGF and things are kind of pushed alongside very, very high protein intake. For the sake of it, just protein intake just being fucking high. How many American dudes do we see where it's extremely prevalent to do 500 grams plus a day, total protein, right? Very, very common for these huge portions of protein, when in reality, do they genuinely need it? No.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think it was Dr. Scott who said it was something like 7 grams of, was it 7 grams of protein per something needs to be accrued over a period of time, and that will equal 10 pounds of tissue? He basically like explained it to me, and I was like, oh fuck yeah! So the 300 grams I eat in a day doesn't really like only 7 or 8 of that needs to kind of be actually accrued as legitimate tissue. And he kind of broke it down into like a numbers that I don't remember off the top of my head now, but that was quite interesting. But I think the most important thing to think about is like all the volume thing as well. Like, no, I only eat white potato and white rice, and I only eat like oats. And it's like, okay, cool, oats, great big blown up portions of oats. Right, you're eating 200 grams of oats in a meal. That's fucking retarded. So you're eating huge portions of rice. You're blowing those up. That's just like insane. You're eating massive portions of white potato, sweet potato, whatever. And now you're doing these enormous portions of fish or chicken or beef on top, and it's like, this is so much going through your stomach. And granted, yeah, if you can eat it because you've just got kind of no off switch with the like being like satiety sort of thing. If you're just one of those dudes that can just kind of keep going, great, but you're definitely going to blow your GI. You're going to blow your gut.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think. Yeah.
No, I was going to say the only other thing I'd probably add to that is nowadays, like, people are seeing, like, let's say, what's required, and they're, as a result, thinking they need to do that shit immediately. Like, if you were to go straight away and be like, right, I'm going to eat 500 grams of protein, or nowadays with how cheap, I'm going to go up to 15 to 20 IUs. Like, that's also, I think, a fast way to speedrun yourself into gut distension, midsection issues, because, like, I think if you were to, let's say, for example, for me, like, I've used GH for 4 years at this point, and I've slowly escalated. I've gone up, my protein requirements every off-season has slowly crept up. But I started a men's physique, I started smaller. You know, it's when you've got guys that are like, right, I've got shit shape, so I might as well just get fucking jacked. Time to go straight to 400 grams of protein and 15 IUs of GH. And it's like, that's going to fuck you up, bro. You know, be careful. Like, you've not got the...
Your shit shape is now about to get even shitter. Like, even for a guy who's got pretty shape and like kind of like a thicker waist, my waist hasn't really changed at all in terms of like actual size. I've not blown it. We spoke about this the other week, didn't we, Cal? Like, it was like, I think maybe like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And it was like, oh, you've not actually, like, even with like higher food and the high insulin and all that, you've never actually really blown it. And I'm like, yeah.
No. Tom, your midsection, mate, considering what you've done, like, it's genuinely like pretty sound. Like,
which is weird. I think from this point to where I need to be now as a legit super, I'm going to have to be really careful. But I think as long as it's controlled, it's the best of my ability. Just be mindful about food sources, and if they do notice anything starting to happen, obviously at higher body weight and things, be mindful about it, because the last thing I want to do is blow it and make it like a pile of shit, because then I am fucked up. So.
No. Then you would just have to be 280 on stage. It doesn't matter. Just keep going.
Yeah, 280, and then my waist's even bigger, so I look exactly the same size as last time. Oh, I am actually bigger. Trust me, guys. It's just my waist's huge too now.
Yeah. But to me, I think it's one of those like shape nowadays. I think it is pushed a bit too heavily, like within bodybuilding, but it is obviously such an important thing. Like the guys in better shape, obviously it's gonna pay off, especially with PCA and stuff like that. Like half the reason why like I was even comparable against someone like Josh Law last year was just because my shape's better than him. You know, like if we're judging it off like NPC criteria, the guy's got fucking 10 kilos on me. Like, yeah, you know, so.
He's like 330.
I got 10 kilos on my physique from last year, so fuck you, Josh. Do you in now?
He's like 330 at the moment, isn't he? Like,
yeah, he was. I trained with him the other day, and he was 150 kilos, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like he's a joke of a human, that bloke, like especially in person, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, in person it is insane. When you walk past him, you just go, fuck it out, Josh. Like,
yeah. There's a few guys.
He's been competing since he was like 20.
Yeah. Yeah. His first British, I think I was 11. That's what I got told. Like his first British finals, I was like legit playing like Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2. Like didn't even know what bodybuilding was, and he's just like stepping on stage in a fucking thong. Like it is crazy.
Because it would have been NABBA. He was a NABBA junior, wasn't he? Like years ago, I think. Because their juniors is under 21. So that's the first one. That's the first one. I did my first year at 18 in 2012. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the standard like back then? Was it good?
Okay, British finals one year was a dude called Cade or Oregon or something like that, who's a New Zealand guy. No, this was in the universe actually. Ross Kerr, Drew Walker, Cuba, a guy called Jason Ross, who was an Irish guy who was a fucking monster. And they're all under 21, and they all look like they could easily walk into like a men's media bodybuilding class. It was just like, what the fuck?
You know, I don't know. This is again a random one, and I don't know why my brain's this active at this time of hour. I've been up since 5. Sanaya said the other day, I don't know if you boys, and this is maybe me being a bit of an uncle, a bit of a hater. Do you feel like, you know, like nowadays bodybuilding, maybe it's because it's so popular. I feel like maybe I'm the last of like the guys that have come through in the last few years that are like, okay, these guys are pretty fucking good. Like in regards to like, I don't feel like, you know, when you mention those names, I don't really see. I see a lot of good guys, like a lot of good guys, but like, you know, like freaks. I feel like the same names have been within the industry now for the last like 3 to 4 years. It's not really been the last since like turn of COVID. I feel like there's a few guys coming out of that where it was like Eagles burst onto the scene. He looked fucking fantastic. Obviously Bridgman was going for his pro card in like men's physique and stuff like that. There was a lot of like UK guys, and now it's like this. The quality is a joke. They're really really good, but there's not new names. It's like the same names that are just like, well, they're kind of there, and the level's just getting up. So it's making those newer entries harder to get to like the level of these guys are pretty fucking good.
I actually fully agree. I think definitely. I also think that one of the things that we see, because we don't see tons and tons and tons of open guys coming through, right? It's classic. There's so much classic, and like that guy who posted today that Tom is coaching. Tom, what's his surname? I can't remember. Tom
Josh
Taylor. That Peels guy that Tom
Taylor's Josh Connolly. Yeah.
I don't know. The first time I ever saw him, right? Yeah. Great physique, and I'm like, cool, classic guy, incredible shape, incredible structure, absolutely Peel, brilliant. But he's going to then stay in classic once he turns classic pro. And like Sam O'Keefe, right? He's going to turn classic pro. He's going to stay in classic. These guys will then just float around that industry. Jack Eagles turn pro, stay in classic. Whereas I think a lot of there's not a lot of like, oh, I've done classic now, I want to be fucking enormous. Like now push. There's not tons of that these days because classic is one, healthier, long run. 2, more visually appealing if you've got a nice structure anyway, you can kind of just still look really good all the time by doing it. Put a bit on here and there and whatever. There's not like huge leaps up. Whereas like
that's what I was going to say.
I definitely wanted to do that as soon as I got out of kind of, you know, like juniors. I'm like, I just want to be a super, I want to be huge. Yeah. Whereas like, I don't feel as if that's, everyone wants to do that these days. Probably because of what it entails in terms of food and pushing and drugs and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just, like, Sanaya mentioned it where she was like, she said she was like, out of like all the current crop of guys, like you don't really see any open bodybuilders who have like come through and have done it like kind of in a sense like you have, like progressing through the ranks and still hungry and still progressing. And I was like,
they've either kind of got there quite quickly or they've like kind of, there's not much of this.
And I was thinking maybe it's just because again the standard within the UK for all amateur bodybuilding is a joke. But like if you look at like the PCA British last year, so bodybuilding tall top 3 was Josh Law, me, and that Adrian dude. Those have been at the circuit for years. They're obviously all PCA pros now. The median class was Jay, you know, Magic Eye Media, who he's like late 30s.
He's 40s.
Yeah. He beat that Macaulay guy, he'll probably win a pro card this year, but he beat him 2 bros. And then you got like Drew. Those have been at it for years. You've got the short class, which I don't know who there wasn't. Steve won it, Liverpoolian lad, but like the short class wasn't the best, like by the looks of things. And then like the only way you look at these new guys is like you got classic, and then Lewis originally won that like in the medium class or the tall class, you know. So it's like you don't really see in open bodybuilding like anyone. I expected last year for me to be like, oh shit, yeah, there's a few guys who like.
I suppose with Diesel as well. Diesel's been kind of high level for 3 years.
Yeah, well, he won a PC
and then
overall.
Samson's done the same thing for 3 years, so he's better definitely. But.
He won. Like, Diesel won a PC overall at his first show. Like. That's so. If you win an overall as a first-time bodybuilder, like you're probably destined to be pretty okay. You know, same with Courage. He won Samson. He won PC overall at his first time. You know, and like looked fairly similar. Like he's obviously a bit better now, but like so you get guys that spawn in as like fucking freaks. But I don't feel like the last 2 or 3 years you've really seen the guys that have like pushed the boundaries of like, oh shit, this guy's come up and he's put on a load of tissue. You know.
No one. I think there's people that do it, but there's no one who's maybe got a really heavy following on Instagram for whatever reason, or maybe someone with crazy good Sorry.
Nat's done quite a big jump from juniors.
Yeah, Nat's done it as well. And then to be fair, like obviously I know he hasn't competed in open, but like Joe Gann, like he's done really well as well.
Yeah.
Like you know,
Joe progressed up well.
Joe's done really well. So yeah, there are definitely people. I just feel like maybe when I was
not as many as you would like to see. Really.
Yeah, like when you mention that list, or you know when you go to like Train by JP Gym and they have like the UKBFF winners every year, and it's like fucking hell, like this was amateur bodybuilding. You've got Hollingshead, Nathan Diasha, like you see these guys that you're like,
Luke Sandow,
they're destined for the top, and it's like as much as people say UK bodybuilding, oh my god, it's so good. It's like, is it really? Because I feel like the top guys are just continuing to get better, and it's leaving these bottom guys or mid-tier guys staying in the mid-tier. I don't know. That's my opinion. That's not. I'm not trying to be negative there. Like, I want the best for British bodybuilding. I just think it's so easy to say this is so good when it's like, yeah, but it's just the good guys are getting better because they're doing what it takes, and the genetics and the drugs and the access to everything. You know.
Absolutely. Interesting thought. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. What have you had to do for food for this load, mate? I'm assuming it's 3 days on the trot of high food?
Yeah, so it was 700 carb Tuesday, trained pull, 800 carb yesterday, trained push. No, sorry, the other way, push then pull, because my back's definitely like one thing. Weirdly enough, my back gets flatter so much quicker this prep. I think maybe it's because I was hinging a lot more this off season. Like my back just is a bit thicker. Usually for me it's like my pushing musculature that kind of fades, so I was like, right, cool, we'll start the load there. But like those 2 days were more like freshen up days, so steps were pulled down, cardio's been out since Friday at this point, and then today was full rest day, like retard max day. I have done 4,000 steps. All I've done is literally get a haircut and play fucking Assassin's Creed and get back to check-ins. I've done absolutely nothing, so it's been lovely. So yeah, full on retard max day, and this has been 1250 carb. So yeah, and then tomorrow I'll probably do 2 meals pre-workout, probably 250, and then a 5 guys post-workout. Like after I do like a pump session. I'll do I get my flush massage after my pump session, and then
the show?
Saturday.
Oh, that's why you're doing the burger. That
yeah. So burger and fries, but I have that like 2-3 p.m. And then that'll like in an ideal world, I wake up tomorrow. I've done, like I said, 700, 800, and then so what's that? So that's 1,500, and then 1,250. So I've done 2,750, and I've not really moved. And I've just done like 2. The last 2 sessions were like good sessions, but they weren't like full on. They were still kind of failure, but they were no silly reps. Just like let's train hard, but not like stupidly hard, so I'm fucking battered. Today, full on rest. Ideally today, fill up to the point where I'm like quite close with a few meals to get to that like peak fullness, and then just do 2 easy. I'm going to literally do 2 rice pudding meals with like, you know, the hydro rice by Engineered Muscle. You can just put water in it, like cold water, and then leave it for 5 minutes, and it just makes it like you can do like 100 carb, and it's like 3 mouthfuls.
I'm not using that. I might order some of that. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'm just going to use that tomorrow for probably 250 carb twice. With just a load of honey, load of jam, mix it up, tiny bit of whey, bit of dark chocolate, train, get a pump, do like 30 to 45 minutes, get my like little flush massage just to get everything going, and then I'll pose post-workout, and then that'll be the call for like, do I do the 5 guys? Do I not? I know I will, just with how like previous data goes. And then I usually at that point I'll probably like in my head I'll look at myself at like 3-4 p.m. I'll start like drying off from like 2-3 p.m. after the 5 guys, and then if I start to flatten out, I'll just put some more food in the evening and then go from there. But it'll usually be cheap, easy carbs, like nothing major. Like I wouldn't do another cream of rice meal. It would probably literally just be some square bars, some honey, let's say a cookie, muffin, something like that, just to keep me topped up. But that'd be the approach for Saturday. And then I'm on early doors, so yeah, I never really wake up to water anyway. I'm quite lucky that I'm quite dry. So that's usually the POA. But the food will get greater. For the Pro Qual, it'll probably be, instead of 700, 800, it'll probably be 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, then the 5 guys, with the 500 carbs, 600 carb before.
Yeah. Do you still pose like on peak weekend bits, Reece, or do you back off on the posing that you're feeling?
If I'm honest, like I posed a few times today. My posing, you know, when people are like, "Oh, I eat a meal and I have to pose," I don't really like. My posing fitness is very good. I've always been a good poser, in my opinion. I think coming from men's physique, like I never think to myself, "Oh, I can't keep my stomach tight" or anything like that. And I pose like maybe before bed, just in front of Sanaya, just to make sure that she's like last night, for example. I posed and she was like, "Fucking hell, yeah, you're going to be eating loads tomorrow." And I was like, "Why?" She was like, "Not even touch the sides." She was like, "If it wasn't 11 o'clock and we've watched Spider-Man," she was like, I'd tell you to have another meal." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Sound like I said, I was like, "I'll just wake up."
Sammy Rambod kicking in there.
Yeah. She was like, "I tell you to eat another meal," but she was like, "We got time. You're fine." But she was like, "If this was tomorrow," she was like, "You'd need to eat another meal. Like if this was Thursday night instead of, let's say, Wednesday night." But yeah, like, I'm not really.
I just ordered one of them hydro rice as we were talking.
Hell yeah, mate, it's great. Yeah, it's great. Like shout out Engineer Muscle, no affiliate code or anything like that. But that's the one thing. I think the rice pudding from ESN is better to make as like with warm water, like if you make it like that. But I think for like show days or for like peaks, literally just put it in a bowl, put cold water, mix it for a minute, leave it, and it will just solidify. So the volume is like genuinely so low. Mix that with honey, mix that with some jam, dark chocolate. You've got 200 carb and 10 fat, and it will be 3 mouthfuls. Like we're talking, it's so easy to get in. So yeah, but yeah, what are you boys like with posing? Like, do you guys say to your boys like pose?
Cal had me do it after every meal on my carb, but not much, just like moving around. He was like, eat, pose, go for a quick walk around the block, 2 minutes, then come back, chill.
I'd say one of the easiest ways I gauge how well I'm feeling is based on posing. Like I can tell when I'm contracting well, and I can tell when I'm not, and when I need more based on that as well. I find that quite a good gauge.
I get that. Yeah, that makes sense. I think, like, to be fair, I think if you're super like flat and you need to fucking load, or let's say you're in a peak and you're like, "Oh, I don't really know how things are feeling," then fair enough. I think pose all you like. But like, because I've done this enough, it's like I'll pose in the morning, I'll pose post workout. My posing fitness is always spot on. I do cardio year round. Like I don't need it for that benefit. And then away from that, like me just moving around, and like I'll do today I did a round of posing in the morning, and then 2 rounds of posing because my bikini fucking thong thing came today. So I was like, sick, I'll just test it out and just see that it actually fits, which is sound. But like I'm not like eat a meal, pose, take pics. Like I can look at myself in the mirror and go, "Yep, sound cool. Like I feel good," you know.
Wicked.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good one I think that's a good base for us to wrap up. Anyway, talking about
loads of info there.
Sorry? Yeah, Sal. Been a pleasure, boys.
So yeah, it's been really good. Actually, it's been really good insight. Actually, to be fair, mate. There's lots to take from that. I think for anyone listening, obviously, I think we've spoke, Reece, everything that we talk about, like regarding sort of bodybuilding stuff. Like I think we align on a lot of things. I think going forward, and I do think I am glad years ago I told you, "Oh, how much growth hormone should you take? As much as you can afford." It was genuinely the words I used, and they laughed about it and joked about it, and now he's taking as much growth hormone as he can afford. So.
Yeah. No. And the funniest thing is that I feel like the whole UK scene's gone from like 3 to 4 IUs is more than enough to then, like,
and I'm sitting there going,
shit, you know, which is
I'm
funny.
sitting there going, "Fucking told you."
Yeah, I told you motherfuckers years ago, but people are obsessed with the fucking 2 IUs of Serostim and stuff like that. Like, "Oh, the GH back in the day, bro." Like that farmer GH. It's like, Jesus Christ. But yeah.
Have you done 20? Have you done 20 a day for the last like however long? Or?
I bumped to 20 back end last week. So 20 IUs back in the last week. I peaked at 18 in my off season for like 4 weeks, and then that was the same time that I put Increlex in. And I don't know if I told you this, Tom. Within the first 3 days of me putting in the Increlex, so prepare, I was chewing my inner cheeks on every bite. So it was like my cheeks were so swollen that I was like literally chewing into my own cheeks.
Wow. Have you noticed that when you're on higher growth and kind of like reversing and stuff, that your jaw gets too pumped if you're chewing stuff, so you can't?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I never. Oh no, I must have had it before. I just forgot probably. But 2020. But so that wasn't a while ago. 6 years ago. But I noticed it today when I was like there munching on something. I'm like, fucking hell, this is getting fucking sore, like the fucking side of my fucking cheeks. I'm there like doing this, and I'm like, come on, stop! I'm trying to eat here. Like, terrible.
Oh, the joys of an open bodybuilder.
I love it.
This podcast, this episode would like deter me if I was like a men's physique guy. I'd be like, fuck these guys. I ain't doing this shit. Yeah.
20 units of growth, mate. Piss.
Yeah. I remember I started out on like 3 IUs like post prep in 21 and had like the most insane pump ever for like a week, and I was like, this shit's so good. And like I remember like I bumped it up to like 5 after like maybe a couple months, and I was like, oh, I'm on the fucking big boy stuff now. Like how times change.
Yeah, it's funny. How do you split your just before we go, how do you split your 20?
I just do it all pre-med.
All of it?
Do it all pre-med. The only time this prep I've done 2 IUs fasted on my rest days when I was doing cardio, and I was doing it intramuscular either when I went for my last wee, so at like 4 a.m. before I opened up the gym, so it was like in my system, so I just literally just pin it in my fucking shoulder, like I had it by the toilet, or I would do it upon wake if I wasn't opening up the gym and I had a bit more time to like not have to do my cardio straight out of bed. But yeah, I did 2 IUs fasted on rest days just because I wasn't eating too soon. But like in an off-season base setting, just do it pre-bed. You don't want to be messing up blood glucose and dysregulating things. That being said,
that's what I'm doing. Well, I'm doing 10 at the moment, but it's definitely going to work its way up over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I do 10 pre-beds. Mix that in with like, let's say some other like regenerative peptides, like I like a glow or something like that. Have you been using like DSIP and stuff like that? Have you used that before?
Yeah, I did really like that when I was using it. Actually.
Yeah, well, you liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh, DSIP's fucking great. Like, I think like DSIP, Clo or Glow, probably Clo in a post-show rebound just for KPV and stomach lining benefits and like inflammation, and then a good amount of GH. To do that pre-bed, oh yeah, that's fucking great when it comes to recovery. And
have you used Solank and Samax?
I have them, yeah.
I've been using those, and that's definitely helped me. So, do you know when you've been on cycle for a really long period? This is going on and on. But do you know when they like, oh, we're going to stop, we're not actually. We're going to talk about peptides. But I've noticed that when I'm on cycle for a good long period of time, like psychologically, I start to kind of get like a mental fatigue sort of thing build up, and almost like I start feeling the snappiness more and kind of getting more ratty and more shitty about things than I really should do. It's pretty silly to be fair. But with those in, I've just noticed far more chill and far more calm with a lot of things, which is interesting.
They work across like the only thing I could be considering is if like you're down like the ADHD pathway, like or some form of like attention deficit disorder, it can fuck up like basically like neurological sort of pathway connection with how things are. So if you're a bit of a retard, maybe stay away because it might make you more retarded. But if you're like us who are retarded but not officially, take it. Great. Great way to end the podcast, guys.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
Sam, it's always a pleasure. Sick. All right, catch you later, boys.